So if you want to start an online business, you have to have a platform where you host your whole business. It has to be a good platform. It has to be able to accommodate your lead magnets, your emails, your products, your main website, your landing pages, everything. And I would say that the two best options at the moment, right, if you want to start a business, is either System.io or Kajabi. And that, of course, depends on how much do you want to initially invest in your business. Now, let's go first with a more expensive and I would say more premium option. So let's say with $76 or euros, and in this case a month, you can start a business with 250 contacts, one product, one website. I would say Kajabi actually starts to work better on higher plans, but specifically why I offer these two platforms is because you can do everything on them. It's not like you create with one platform, you create a website and then you have to separately create your emails and then work with email provider that works with your email contacts. Kajabi and System.io, they have everything in one place. They integrate everything, sort of like all-in-one solution. And I would say in nowadays, in this economy, in this time of internet business, doing everything in one place it's actually great because these platforms have evolved to become really, really good solutions. So yeah, Kajabi starts from 76 euros a month up to the Pro plan, which I'm using at 429. Now, if we look at System.io, it's a bit different, right? You can even start with a free plan. So I would say that System.io probably has the most generous free plan of any platform that I've come across on the internet, right? So the main idea of the free plan is that you can get up to 2,000 contacts. So that means on the free plan, right, you can have unlimited emails with 2,000 contacts. You can even have, I think, one product. You can even have a blog, right? You can have unlimited physical products, but we're sending online products, right? So you can have online courses, just one online course with 500 students in that. So let me tell you like this. For example, when I had 2,000 contacts in my first business, I was already making about 3,000 euros a month. So that basically means like you should be making somewhat $1 per one contact a month in your business. It's like a benchmark sort of. So you can imagine that with this amount of money, this amount of contacts, you're making roughly this amount of money. Of course, it depends on your pricing and all the other stuff. But I would say that with System.io, you can really, really create business and it scales pretty well as well. So let's say for a starter plan, 5,000 contacts, and their highest plan, which is everything unlimited. You can have many websites, many domains, many everything. It's not just $97. So basically that's the cheapest plan of Kajabi. Now, in the beginning, I used System.io and I still use it in one of my businesses. But the thing is, I just simply like the simplicity of Kajabi, the way Kajabi works, because it's very intuitive. It has an internal system where Kajabi knows everything about my clients, about the products they have, what they've clicked, what they've viewed, and so forth, and all of their behavior. In System.io, you can set that all of that up, but you usually have to set it up with tags. And you need those tags, to know what kind of products people have, and you have to set them up front. So, for example, when a person does this and that, they get tagged with a specific tag. And that's the way System.io works. I would say Kajabi is much more intuitive. Even at the start of my business, with my first business, I went with Kajabi immediately because I knew I was going to make it. I knew I was going to do everything to make this work. So I just went with Kajabi. But of course, you can start with System.io, which has a very, very generous plan. So if your idea, is to dabble a little bit in your business, which I don't recommend, because if you watch my previous video, why 99% people fail in online business, it's because they dabble, right? It's because they don't look at it as a serious business. And I suggest you should do that. You should look at it as a serious business because it helps you create real assets. Like, for example, I consider both of my businesses, both of my brands that are making me money, I consider them to be assets online that are just, I can stop creating content. I can stop doing various things. If I just send one email, 2 emails a week, the money just keeps coming in. So that's the beauty of this kind of business. And both of these platforms, Kajabi and System.io, they allow you to do that. It's just Kajabi is more intuitive and simple. System.io is cheaper. Other few options would be Podia. That's also a good option. It's a bit like somewhere in the middle between the two when it comes to pricing, but it's very simple and not as powerful as Kajabi and System.io, because System.io, you can create websites like it's a drag and drop and very, very customizable. Kajabi is less customizable, but it has everything that you need, and it, as I said, it's more intuitive. And Podia is somewhere in the middle. You have a lot of options, but it's more on the simple side. So if you want something very simple and you're not a techie person, I would go with Podia. But if you start adding up emails, let's say 10,000 emails, the price can stack up pretty fast, which is already like closer to Kajabi than System.io. So yeah, I would say these System.io and Kajabi are my suggestions to you. If you want something more simple, go with Podia. But my suggestion to you is don't go with stitched together business, like where you have WordPress and you have some other platforms that host your email because for example you have like ConvertKit, MailerLite. These are platforms that just host your email. I mean, they have websites and so forth, but you mainly want to sell courses. You want to have gated content where people have to log in and see their products in their library, and the System.io, Kajabi, and Podia are really, really good at that. Yeah, so you have three options, and you have one free option that's going to last you really, really long time in your business start, unless you want to go with the paid options, which are more intuitive and easier to use. Yeah, so I will see you in other videos.